I proposed to Emily last week. It was a perfect night, one of those moments you think back on and wonder how everything could change so fast. I had planned it down to the smallest detail: rooftop restaurant, city skyline glowing in the background, her favorite wine already waiting at the table. When I got down on one knee, she gasped, covering her mouth, eyes shimmering with tears. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, laughing, "Yes." I slipped the ring onto her finger, and she threw her arms around me. The whole restaurant clapped. It felt like something out of a movie, the kind of memory you cherish forever. Except forever didn't even last 24 hours. The next morning, Emily's parents invited us to lunch at their house in Orlando. I figured it was just a casual family gathering, maybe a way for them to officially welcome me in. I even picked up a bottle of wine on the way over, wanting to make a good impression. I should have known something was off the moment we walked in. Emily's mom greeted us with a stiff smile, her eyes darting toward her husband. Her younger sister barely acknowledged me, too busy tapping away on her phone. The air felt heavy, like everyone in the room was in on something I wasn't. We sat down at the dining table. No one touched the food. Then Emily's dad slid a folded piece of paper across the table. "Before you marry my daughter," he said, his voice even, controlled, "there are a few things we need to discuss." I picked up the paper, frowning as I unfolded it. My stomach dropped. $27,000, remaining balance on the family's mortgage. $8,500, student loans for Emily's brother. $15,000, kitchen renovation. $30,000, new car for her dad. And more. The total was well into six figures. I let out a short, incredulous laugh, expecting someone to say, "Gotcha. Just kidding." But no one did. "You're serious?" I asked, my voice a little too sharp. Emily shifted beside me, staring down at her lap, twisting the ring on her finger. She still hadn't said a word. Her father leaned back, crossing his arms. "You're gonna be part of this family now. We take care of each other." My pulse picked up. "And by take care, you mean you expect me to pay for all of this?" Emily's mom let out a soft sigh, tilting her head like I was a slow child. "It's just what a good husband does." I turned to Emily. "Is this some kind of joke?" She hesitated, then finally met my eyes. "Babe, it's not that big of a deal." My jaw tightened. "Not a big deal." I tapped the paper. "This is a list of debts. Your family's debts. That you expect me to cover. When were you planning to tell me about this?" Her younger sister scoffed, rolling her eyes. "Wow. So this is who you really are, huh?" I stared at her. "Who I really am?" Emily's brother leaned forward, arms resting on the table. "Look, man. Emily's been paying for us for years. She's been handling all this on her own. Now it's your turn." I turned back to Emily, my heart pounding. "You've been paying for them?" She flinched. "It's just little things. Here and there." I exhaled sharply, shaking my head. "And you never thought to mention that?" Emily's father leaned forward, his expression hard. "We're not asking for anything unreasonable. You make good money. This should be nothing to you." Something in me snapped. I pushed the paper back across the table. "No." Silence. Her father's expression darkened. "What did you just say?" I said no. I repeated, my voice steady. "I'm not paying for any of this. If marrying Emily means buying my way into this family, then I think we're done here." Emily's fingers curled around my wrist. "Ethan, please." I pulled away. "You should have told me." Her father's chair scraped against the floor as he stood. "You walk out that door, you're done with this family." I met his eyes. "That's fine by me." Emily's face crumpled. "Babe, please, just think about it." I turned and walked out. I didn't look back. I drove home in silence, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles ached. My mind was spinning, replaying everything from that awful lunch. The list. The way Emily sat there, silent. The smug entitlement on her family's faces, like they'd already decided I was going to roll over and accept their demands. I had never felt so blindsided in my life. I parked outside my apartment but didn't get out right away. I just sat there, staring at my dashboard, my heart pounding. It wasn't just the money, it was the betrayal. Emily had let me walk into that ambush without so much as a warning. She had known. She had known, and she hadn't said a damn thing. My phone buzzed. "Emily, please, just talk to me." "Emily, I didn't know they were going to do that. I swear." "Emily, can we meet? Please?" I let out a slow breath, rubbing my temples. I wasn't ready to talk to her. Not yet. That night, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her sitting at that table, head down, while her family tried to sell me into financial servitude. At 2 a.m., another text came through. Emily, I'm outside your building. Just 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I sat up, my stomach twisting. I dragged myself out of bed, pulled on a hoodie, and walked to the window. Sure enough, there she was, standing near the entrance to my building, arms wrapped around herself, looking small and nervous under the dim glow of the streetlights. I sighed. Maybe it was better to face this now. I grabbed my keys and made my way downstairs. She looked up as I stepped outside, her eyes glassy, either from crying or exhaustion. Maybe both. Hey, she said, her voice small. I shoved my hands into my pockets. What do you want, Emily? She hesitated. I didn't know they were going to do that. I swear. I let out a humorless laugh. Come on, Emily. Don't lie to me. You knew. Her lips parted, but no words came out. That list didn't come out of nowhere, I said, my voice tight. They expected this. They expected me to step in. And you just sat there. You didn't warn me. You didn't shut it down. You just let them do it. Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't know how to stop it. You didn't want to stop it. She flinched like I had slapped her. I exhaled sharply, running a hand through my hair. You let me walk into that house blind. Do you have any idea how that felt? She swallowed hard. I thought we could figure something out. I stared at her. Figure what out? How to manipulate me into paying for your family. Her eyes flashed with something, anger, guilt, frustration. That's not fair. Not fair. I scoffed. Emily, you knew I wouldn't go for this. That's why you never told me. You thought if you waited long enough, if I was invested enough, I'd just give in. She wiped at her face. I love you. I clenched my jaw. If you loved me, you wouldn't have kept this from me. Her breath hitched, her hands balling into fists at her sides. I've spent years taking care of them, Ethan. Years. And for the first time, I thought maybe I wouldn't have to do it alone anymore. A bitter taste filled my mouth. So you wanted me to pick up where you left off. She stayed silent. I took a step back. I can't do this, Emily. We're done. Her face crumpled. No, please. I turned and walked back inside. She didn't follow me. I locked my door and leaned against it, pressing the heels of my palms into my eyes. I felt drained, empty. My phone buzzed again, but I didn't check it. I already knew what it would say. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Emily had posted about the breakup on Facebook. Not the truth, of course. 2.5 years wasted on someone who pretended to love me. I gave him everything, and in the end, all he cared about was money. Ladies, be careful who you trust. Hundreds of comments. Some comforting her. Others tearing me apart. Wow, he sounds like a real piece of shit. Men like that don't deserve love. Ugh. Another broke dude pretending to be rich. Typical. Then one that made my blood run cold. Heard he cheated on her, too. With one of her friends. What a scumbag. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. I wanted to comment, to defend myself, but I knew how this worked. The moment I engaged, I'd be feeding the fire. So I stayed silent. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. I kept waiting for it to die down. For people to get bored. For Emily to move on. But she didn't. The Facebook post had done its job. It spread like wildfire through our mutual friends, and the fallout was worse than I expected. People who had never even met me were commenting, tearing me apart based on Emily's carefully crafted sob story. And the worst part? Some of my actual friends believed her. Jake, dude, WTF? You really just left her like that? Sophie, I'm honestly disgusted. You could have at least helped her family a little. Matt, man, tell me you didn't cheat on her. Please. I ignored the messages at first. Let people think what they wanted. But the longer I stayed silent, the worse it got. Then, the rumors started getting wilder. Apparently, I hadn't just abandoned Emily, I had emotionally abused her. I had gaslit her for years. I had led her on and then thrown her away like trash. None of it was true. But truth didn't matter. I was the villain now. Then, one afternoon, my boss called me into his office. Ethan, shut the door. I did, my stomach twisting. He sighed, rubbing his temple. I'm gonna be honest. This is some serious bullshit, but we need to talk about it. I frowned. Talk about what? He turned his monitor toward me. My breath caught in my throat. An email. From Emily. A long, dramatic letter about how I had mistreated her, how she had been scared of me, how she just wanted to warn others before someone else got hurt. It wasn't an accusation, not really, but it was worded just vaguely enough to make me look dangerous. And she had attached photos. Not anything bad, just pictures of us smiling, laughing, kissing. Happy couple stuff. But in this context, it felt manipulative. Like she was trying to show proof of how deeply she had loved me before I changed. I felt sick. My boss sighed again. HR got this too. Look, I know this is personal drama, but we have to take this stuff seriously. You don't actually believe her, do you? I asked, my voice tighter than I wanted it to be. Of course not, he said. But if she pushes harder? If she tries to escalate this? It could get messy. I need you to stay professional. Don't engage. Don't give her anything she can use against you. I clenched my fists under the table. So what? I just let her do this. For now? Yeah. He paused, giving me a pointed look. But if it gets worse, you lawyer up. I left work that day feeling like I was walking through a fog. I kept expecting Emily to text me, to say something, but she didn't. She was done talking. Now, she was playing a different game. That night, I got another text from an unknown number. Unknown? You should have just played along. This didn't have to get messy. I stared at the screen, my blood running cold. Emily? Her father? One of her flying monkeys from Facebook? I had no idea. I blocked the number and locked my door. The next morning, I woke up to a Venmo request. Emily, $2,000 for all the times I covered dinner. I laughed out loud. A sharp, bitter sound. She was seriously trying to get money out of me now? I rejected the request. A minute later, another one came in. Emily's mom, $500. You should have been a real man and helped us out. Then another. Emily's brother, $300 for being a coward. I sat there, staring at my phone, shaking with disbelief. This wasn't even subtle anymore. They weren't just trying to ruin my name. They were literally trying to shake me down for cash. I rejected all of them and blocked their accounts. Then, I did what I should have done a long time ago. I called a lawyer. Let me guess, he said after I explained everything. She's not just trying to ruin your reputation. She's setting up for a legal grab. I swallowed hard. What do? Block everything. Change your number. Document everything. And if she keeps harassing you, we file for a restraining order. A restraining order. I never thought I'd need one against someone I had loved. But Emily wasn't the woman I had loved anymore. And I had no doubt this wasn't over yet. I should have known she wouldn't stop. Blocking her on everything didn't make a difference. Changing my number only bought me 2 days of peace before I started getting unknown calls again. First, it was once or twice a day. Then, by the end of the week, my phone was buzzing nonstop random numbers, no voicemails. Just constant harassment. Then came the emails. At first, they were from Emily. Long, rambling messages about how she couldn't believe I would do this to her, how she had given me everything, and how I owed her at least a conversation. Then, when I didn't respond, the tone shifted. Emily, wow. So you're just going to pretend like I never existed? You're disgusting. Emily, you better hope karma doesn't catch up to you. Emily, you know, I could tell people a lot more about you. Maybe I should. That one made my skin crawl. But the worst part? It wasn't just her anymore. Her mom started emailing me. Then her sister. Even her brother sent me some barely coherent message about how I had ruined their family. I ignored it all. Saved the emails. Documented everything, just like my lawyer told me. Then, just when I thought she couldn't take it any further, she showed up at my job. I was in the break room when my coworker Sam rushed in, wide-eyed. Dude, your ex is here. I froze. What? Yeah, man, she's at the front desk. Arguing with security. My stomach dropped. You're kidding. Wish I was. I felt like my body was moving on autopilot as I made my way to the lobby. I could hear her before I even saw her. I just need 5 minutes. He won't even answer my calls. Security was already in front of her, arms crossed. And then she saw me. Her whole face changed in an instant. Her anger disappeared, replaced by tears. Ethan, she gasped. Please, just talk to me. I didn't move. I knew exactly what she was doing. She was putting on a show. For the receptionist. For security. For anyone watching. If I reacted, if I said anything sharp or cold, I'd look like the villain. So I didn't say a word. Security told her to leave. She refused. The cops were called. And as they escorted her outside, she looked over her shoulder at me, her face twisting into something dark and sharp. You'll regret this, she whispered. I didn't breathe until she was gone. That night, I filed for a restraining order. And for the first time in months, I felt like I was finally fighting back. The restraining order went through faster than I expected. I had documented everything: the texts, the emails, the Venmo requests, the sudden appearance at my job. My lawyer said it was more than enough. A judge agreed. Within a week, Emily was legally barred from contacting me or coming anywhere near my home or workplace. And just like that, she was gone. No more texts. No more phone calls. No more watch yourself threats from random numbers. At first, I didn't trust it. For so long, I had been waiting for the next attack. The next lie. The next attempt to drag me back into her orbit. So the sudden silence felt almost worse. Like the calm before a storm. But days passed. Then weeks. And still, nothing. Then, one night, I got a message from a mutual friend. "Jake, dude, Emily has a new boyfriend." I stared at the text for a long time, not sure what I was supposed to feel. Me, cool. Hope he enjoys being an ATM. Jake? Yeah. You might want to see this. Then he sent a picture. Emily, sitting on a guy's lap, laughing, her arms draped around his neck. And the guy? Brian. My old friend. The one who had defended her after we broke up. The one who had sent me angry texts about how I should have helped her family. The one who told me I was making a huge mistake. Now he was her next target. I should have been pissed. Betrayed. Something. But I wasn't. I just felt done. Emily had moved on, but not really. She wasn't in love with Brian. She was recycling the playbook. Running the same game. The same tears. The same guilt trips. The same manipulations. And Brian? He thought he was the exception. Just like I had. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Instead, I deleted the picture, turned off my phone, and for the first time in months, I finally felt free.